Hey guys, welcome back to the Foolish Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil. The bowl games were announced this afternoon. The 12-team playoff is set. That'll be interesting to see how that works out. But I want to just give you some thoughts first on Michigan. They're looking at playing Alabama, if you can believe it. So this is, if you don't know, they're gonna. I think it's the Aliquist Bowl. But it used to be the Outback Bowl, just for the sake of it. So historical people can know. Oh, it's the Outback Bowl. It's going to be New Year's Eve at noon. It's going to be like their intro game before like two semifinals, and then the next day will be the Citrus Bowl at noonish, and then two playoff games after that. Anyways, this is technically the Big Ten second place team and the SEC second place team should be playing in this game. And so Illinois, I think they were 8-4 on the year. They're going to play in the Citrus Bowl versus South Carolina. And it just brings up in your mind, like, what on earth was Citrus Bowl thinking to take South Carolina instead of Alabama? Because that's who Michigan's playing. Michigan's going to play Alabama. And, like, what? I mean, that's crazy. Alabama was the first team left out of the playoff. People were debating whether they should be in the playoff. And so they don't even get to be the top tier team in the SEC outside bowl in their tiered system. No, it goes to South Carolina. And so, I mean, I immediately had flashbacks to the 2002 Citrus Bowl, I think it was, where Michigan played Tennessee. And if you remember that year, Tennessee was like the number 1, number 2 team in the country. They played in the SEC title game and lost. And they were like, one of the top teams in the country, but they lost the SEC title. And that was back in the day when you only had 2 teams, the BCS era. You only had 2 teams, I believe it was, that would go off and play for the title. Just 2 teams. Just that's all. And so Tennessee, even though they were like a super awesome team, they got downgraded to, the first bowl game for the SEC. And somehow Michigan was in there. And Michigan got destroyed 45-17. I looked it up on my phone. 45-17. That was with T. Martin. Tennessee was awesome that year. And they destroyed Michigan. And part of me's thinking, that's probably what's going to happen. For one, who's even going to be quarterback at Michigan on that game day? Is it going to be Davis Warren? I mean, if you really want to think about this, it's purely an exhibition. This game means absolutely nothing in the big scheme of things. I know most bowl games didn't. And now especially with the 12-team playoff, this game means absolutely jack squat. All it is reps for next year, really. And maybe some people will get something on film or something. I don't know. But are you going to play Davis Warren? I mean, I would love to see Jaden Davis play, but you might just be putting him out there to be obliterated. I don't know. So that brings up another question. How many players are even going to be in this game? I love them, but there's nothing to play for but pride, I suppose. And that can be something, don't get me wrong. But Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, Josiah Stewart, Derek Moore, I think it's Derek Moore on the outside. It's like, those guys, Colston Loveland, Will Johnson, those guys should not play at all. Why? I just don't see the point of playing in this complete consolation game. You guys are all looking at NFL careers. Why would you go and play in this game? Go down, enjoy the week of warmth, practice, I guess, and practice with your teammates, enjoy it. Try to end the year with some fun, but don't play, man. You got nothing to prove. I know that's the thing, though, right? Everyone wants to play because they love football, right? That's how they get this far. That's how they get so good, is because they love football. But, that's a good question. I mean, what's the point of playing? You're really looking for next year. I mean, is Jalen Milroe going to be playing, or is he just thinking about going to the pros? And there's nothing wrong with going to the pros. This is a meaningless exhibition game. That's all it is. Now, there's like no real point to it. I mean, yeah, you'll sell some tickets, you'll get some TV viewership, great. But the game's completely worthless. It's an exhibition. It'll be interesting to see how many people go to the portal now before this game. Now you know where you're playing. I mean, I would assume a lot of Alabama people are going to go to the portal because they were probably waiting to see are we going to make the playoff or not. Now they're not. Okay, we'll move on. So I just don't. If you have an NFL aspiration, especially you're a first or second rounder, there should be no chance you play in this game. Now, thinking about the college football playoff at large, I think it's going to be really cool to see some hosting games in northern, snowy, hopefully, climates. I love to see some outside football in the wintertime. I mean, that's the coolest part of seeing the NFL in the playoffs. You get to see just the old days of New England or Buffalo or Kansas City where it's bitter cold and all that. That'd be nice to see, just see what it is. But obviously, I'm not the first one to think about it. Penn State seems to have the easiest road. They play SMU first, so that's going to be at Penn State in December against a Texas team. That's going to be a big advantage coming up north. I don't know. I don't think that one's... Then you got Notre Dame and Indiana, and again, they should be okay there. But it's going to be interesting. Definitely Ohio State and Tennessee is going to be a great game, I hope. And, of course, that's at Ohio State. And there's one more. It's just eluded me, so I'm sorry. I'm forgetting the last game. But it'll be interesting to see which one of the first four are you guys really looking forward to. I'm sorry, I can't remember the last one. But, so, Indiana and Notre Dame. Oh, it's Texas. Texas. Who's Texas playing? Texas, Clemson. Must be Clemson. Texas, Clemson. And then you have, Ohio State, Tennessee, Penn State versus SMU. Which one of those 4 games are you looking forward to the most? But like I say, it's like if Penn State takes care of SMU, which they probably will, it's going to be a whiteout. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere. Then they get to play Boise State, who knows how really good they are. So Penn State's looking really good to get to the Final Four at least. New era of college football begins. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. Michigan gets Alabama. I don't know what to think about that game. Just the pro people shouldn't play. You've played 3, 4, 5 years of your career at Michigan or Alabama for that sake. This game means absolutely nothing. Don't ruin your career. Just think about Jake Butt. Other guys who played. I remember there was a linebacker, I think, Notre Dame in the Notre Dame-Ohio State bowl game that meant nothing years ago, and he got hurt and hurt his draft stock big time. It's not worth it, man. Don't do it. But, they love to play. That's why they play. If you guys have any thoughts, put them in the box below. I'll try to respond as I'm able to. As always, thanks for watching. Until I see you guys next time. As always, go Blue.